This video is about starting over. I'm gonna share some advice that you didn't ask for, but probably needs to hear. A few years ago, I thought I was legitimately going insane. I had worked my ass off in order to get my dream job working as a storyboard artist in Hollywood. I was no longer anxious and struggling just to afford to live. I knew I was supposed to be happy, but I wasn't. I know that makes me terribly, terribly unrelatable. I remember at the time I would get criticized for being so privileged and so ungrateful for what I had. Do you think I didn't know what I had? You really think I didn't fucking know that I was very privileged and lucky to be in the place that I was, and that I had worked my ass off for practically a decade to get there, and yet I still wasn't fucking happy? You think I wanted to feel that way? I knew I was crazy, okay? And knowing that made everything I was feeling so much worse. I tried my best to ignore the fact that my work made me physically ill to the point of fainting and throwing up. And I know that people who have never worked a corporate job might not understand this. You know the work is meaningless. You know that you're sitting in front of a computer all day while other people are doing real work. It makes you feel like nothing really matters in life, like your life doesn't matter. You know that it's not like we're curing cancer here. I draw cartoons on a screen that nobody watches. And yet at companies like this, you are supposed to pretend like you are curing cancer. Everyone has this bloated sense of self-importance, and you're the one that's made out to look crazy for not pretending like you are God's gift to humanity. At my worst, I would start having these crazy delusions about running away to start a farm or a homestead, or just get away from humanity in general. But then I would ask my husband Vincent if he was down for all of this.
No! No! I don't even know where any of you van lifer people poop or pee, man. Like, what? Like, dig a little hole, like a little animal, and like, squeak your little butt and go, ugh! It's not for me, man.
You don't want to like get down in the dirt and like hoe the ground?
No, I ain't no hoe. He's hoe. Caesar speaks. That's actually in Julius Caesar.
So you thought I was delusional?
Yeah, I always think the real world is oppressive and it hurts. You know, like Dragon Ball Z, where like Goku feels like the gravity. That's like every day.
So that wasn't really an option. The truth is, my feelings didn't go away. I just added guilt and resentment and anger to the whole process. Once I finally accepted that I was unhappy, only then could I start moving forward and taking steps to actually doing anything about my situation, other than just sitting there disassociating at work. My second piece of advice is don't tell anyone. At least that's if you want to protect your peace. There will always be people who will judge you for it. The fear here isn't, what if someone is going to judge me for X, Y, and Z? The truth is, they will judge you. And it's always the people that you think would actually support you the most. The real question is, what are you actually going to do about it? The people that will judge you, I like to call energy vampires. They have the unique ability to take anything good that you do for yourself and spin it into an attack back on you. They only reveal themselves to you when you decide to make a good change in your own life. I had to learn this the hard way. I decided to tell everyone, which allowed everyone to have an opinion about this very personal decision that I was making for my life. On the bright side, it allowed me to find all the toxic people in my life and cut them out just like that. The best thing to do in this situation is to accept it and completely remove yourself from your former life. You have to understand that there's nothing left in those relationships for you to salvage. You are moving on and starting over after all. Stop letting them suck all the energy out of you and give that energy to people who will appreciate you and who will actually be in your life. This is easier said than done. It was very hard for me to let these people go, even when I made the conscious decision to do it. So for example, these people are probably going to talk shit about you, and there's nothing you can really do about it. When I would make the mistake of falling into these traps, I would then get greeted by comments like, I thought you were moving on. Didn't you quit? It was a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. If I was trying to defend myself, I'd get mocked trying to defend myself. They'll even pretend like they weren't the one who instigated the whole interaction, and it would just leave me exhausted. Again, energy vampires. But if you do truly move on, cut that cancer out of your fucking life. They will have no choice but to feed on their own bullshit. It'll be this never-ending cycle where they're just stuck in the same place forever and ever and ever. Even though I just described how awful being around these people can be, I still felt sorry for them. And worse, I was really upset at myself for being so naive and so thirsty for validation that I ever gave a shit about this former place in my life. So it becomes really, really easy to just sit there and wallow in your own grief. I did that for far too long. You know that phrase, when you break up with someone, the easiest and fastest way to get over someone is to get under someone new. My advice is to take classes, not online classes, classes in real life where you get to meet people. Join clubs. Go outside in general, which was really hard for me because I couldn't do that during COVID. Yeah, COVID was just a really bad time for all of us. I'm not even saying it's gonna be fun. It's definitely a lot of hard work. There's a lot of intentional effort that you have to put in order to do these things. In my 20s and early teens, there's this expectation that once you leave school and you start working, that it'll be somehow easy to find adult friendships. If you think that happens, you're just gonna be lonely for a really long time. You're gonna have to go and do things that you probably don't want to do. You're probably gonna have to hang out with lots of people that you don't vibe with, and that's part of the process. Moving away from my past career in LA was really, really helpful because it kind of forced me to have to make new relationships. How do I know this new start is the right one? How do you know you're not gonna make the same mistakes again? I don't know for sure if it is. And I think being able to admit that is already a really big difference than back when I was in my early 20s. I was so sure that once I got that job, all my problems will be solved. I'll be so happy. I now know that happiness isn't something that you go and you chase. It's something that you are in the moment. I do know I feel more fulfilled putting in the hours every day working towards my new goals and my new life than I ever felt working towards my goal of getting my dream job. I saw somewhere that someone said this one thing about prestigious work. No one would actually want to do that prestigious job if it didn't come with all that prestige. Someone along the way had to figure out how to make a job prestigious in order to convince anybody to do it. In the past week, I turned 31. It's made me very existential. We'll not talk about that.
But you still look like a kindergartner, so it's okay.
How old do you think I look?
I think you look at this point 25. And I think a lot of the old timers in town will probably think you're like 19. And they have no perception of like how people look.
How Asians look.
Especially that.
Oh,
if you got a baby looking minority face, they're like, stay in school, hoodlum. That happened.
He looks older than we do.
Yeah, too much Marlboro man.
Reinventing yourself, rebranding yourself, starting over. Everyone in life has to go through this, most likely multiple times. And it's a good sign that you want to do it. It just simply means you're growing into a better person. You're not alone. I'm still learning what it means to start over myself. I feel like I figured out certain things, but there sure are a whole lot of things I haven't. If you have any advice for me about how to start over, leave it in the comments down below, and I will see you next time.